Fear of God singer Dawn Crosby was born in 1963. When she was 18, she went to London and listened to British metal bands such as Iron Maiden, Motorhead and Venom, but also punk bands like The Exploited and Discharge. She returned to Los Angeles with a lot of fresh impressions and started a speed and thrash metal band named Detente. In 1985, they released their first demo tape. One song named Widow's Walk made it onto the compilation album Metal Massacre 7 alongside many great bands such as Sentinel Beast, Have Mercy, Juggernaut or Flotsam and Jetsam. The debut album Recognize No Authority was released on Roadrunner Records in 1986. What you find on here is straight-ahead thrash metal, 3-minute songs and Dawn screaming her lungs out. The success of the album caused major labels interest. Warner wanted to offer a deal for the second album, but suddenly there was no band anymore. According to Dawn, there had been a disagreement about songwriting credits and royalties. Anyhow, in the end, Dawn started looking for new band members. She found Michael Carlino first, who was influenced by mainstream rock and progressive music of the 70s, but had never played thrash metal before. His musical background would cause the next album to sound very different. Blair Darby had been playing guitar before, but now switched to bass to join the new band. After several drummers, including Rob Wacko Hunter of Raven, Steve Cordova was hired for the album recordings. Since Dawn was the only Detente member left, they picked a new band name, Fear of God. The first official video was shot for the song Betrayed.
It belongs to the betrayed who can't decide to live or die. It don't matter, they're just killing time.
The recording of Within the Veil was a real struggle. Producer Pat Regan, who later worked with Ritchie Blackmore a lot, wanted to record the songs piece by piece and then puzzle the whole thing together, whereas Dawn wanted to record songs in one go. She said in an interview with Rock Hard magazine that she needed the emotional flow of the whole song for her performance. You can imagine that well if you check out my favorite song, Drift.
Do you ever think about tomorrow? Do you ever think about yesterday? Do you ever feel sorrow?
Talking about sources of information, I found 3 interviews in Crash, Metal Forces and Rock Hard, which were invaluable in making this documentary. Wikipedia and Google are nice to have, but I prefer the real thing printed mags. In 1992, Fear of God did a short European tour, but Dawn required assistance from musicians of Rothschild America to do it. To cut a long story short, everybody had left, and after the tour, Dawn needed to form a completely new band again for her third record, the second Fear of God album, Toxic Voodoo. Even if Dawn blamed the split on Michael Carlino, I believe if you have so much trouble in keeping a lineup together, it simply isn't bad luck, but indicates you're a very difficult person to work with. One surely has to take that into consideration when talking about Fear of God's ill-fated career. The new lineup included Rob Michael on bass and drummer John Gurdon, who had previously played with Have Mercy, a band that appeared with Detente on the Metal Blade compilation I mentioned earlier. This new rhythm section pushed the band closer to Detente in style, faster and more direct. The reactions to Toxic Voodoo were mixed. Some reviews were great, like the one I quoted from Rock Hard magazine, but many fans were extremely disappointed after the predecessor. Here are 2 examples from the internet. The band was now on an independent label, Pavement Records. The production sounded cheaper with a punching bass but uninspired guitars. Mike Carlino, who had been such a creative player on the previous record, was unfortunately never seen again in the music scene. Dawn commented on the production that the album was a matter of 2 weeks compared to the 3 months spent on Within the Veil. But she enjoyed very much working with producer Mark Pinsky. The first time she was happy with the producer. She also praised the treatment she got at Pavement Records because they really cared, whereas Warner wouldn't, as long as they didn't sell 1 million albums. Considering the poor distribution of the first album, which was surprisingly hard to find, there never was a chance for that to happen. After Toxic Voodoo, the tour with Incantation in the US was poorly attended. It would have been interesting to see how the band developed on the third album, back to Within the Veil's gothic darkness, or continue on an even heavier thrash path maybe. But we'll never know. In 1996, Dawn Crosby died of alcohol-induced intoxication, 33 years old. In the new millennium, the Detente guys made comeback attempts with different singers, first Anne Boleyn of Hellion, then Tina Thiel, but neither was very successful. There are originals who can't be replaced.